Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Two Goats. My name is Anon, aka Tom, and I'm joined with drumroll.
Drumroll, 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 the mighty penis.
Oh, that was timed perfectly. Beautifully done, penis. Beautifully done.
Sometimes shit just falls together, man.
Yeah, that's one thing I feel bad, okay, personally.
Mm-hmm.
I owe you an apology. I sounded so angry when I was like, oh no, I was waiting for you, and I didn't mean it to sound that way. It was more just like miscommunication.
I definitely didn't get the vibe that you were angry. Last time we did your bubble drum roll.
Yeah. This one was just a bad clapping drum roll, just because I've got nothing on my desk to improvise. Next week will be interesting, I swear. But how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I finally got my lawn mowed. My lawn got out of hand. Just because it's like one guy was doing it, and then he wasn't doing it, and then this random Mexican dude showed up on my porch who didn't speak Mexican, but handed me his phone. Complete stranger, by the way. Handed me his phone, and his boss spoke to me, and he was going to mow my lawn, and he just never showed up. But today I finally got it mowed from a source I won't disclose. Sounds weird, but I'm not going to get into who it was.
That's understandable. That
but
being
my
said,
3-foot long
I'm
grass.
Curious. Perks of living in an apartment complex. Never have to mow the yard.
I'd say the reason I met this person is for reasons. The reason I won't go into it is because I met them in a scenario we swore to keep separate from the podcast.
Ah, okay. Understand.
Yeah.
Ungersklangadal.
Ungersklangadal.
I don't think that's a word, but it is now.
It is a person. I know that guy.
What, you do?
Yeah.
That sounds pretty amazing.
Yeah, he I got nothing, man. I was gonna go on this whole long tangent. Everything was inappropriate, not safe for work talk. Fuck it. How are you doing tonight, Tom?
I'm okay. I just ate like one of those like microwavable what was it? It was one of those microwavable like lean cuisines. And honestly, that it's not even food. It's just hot plastic. It was not good.
Yeah, that's a good way to. It absolutely is hot plastic.
Yeah.
They call it lean cuisine because it's got less plastic.
Your body doesn't digest anything. That being said, $3 for dinner. Can't beat it.
So, question about microwave food. Do you feel microwaving something inherently makes it less healthy for you?
Yes. Like, I eat a lot of sweet potatoes, right?
Okay.
A lot of sweet potatoes. I love potatoes, and sweet potatoes have so much nutrition in them. I'll microwave them for about 2 minutes, which just gets them basically mush inside. And then I'm eating it, and I'm just like, oh, this is so bad for me. Which is weird, because sweet potatoes are, like, really good for you. Or so a couple BuzzFeed articles I read said, so...
Well, it's on the internet, it's true.
Even like
which we put this show on the internet, so everything we say is true.
Everything we say is true.
Everything.
SpongeBob is real.
SpongeBob is real, and he is in fact in your closet right now.
With a copy of, let's see, I've got something good. With a copy of Breaking Bad, and he's gonna make you watch every episode, and then you're gonna have to write a 16-page essay on why Heisenberg was a good person, or Walter White was a good person.
Right. And the entire time, SpongeBob will be sitting next to you, edging closer and closer until he finally gets the courage to just reach out and touch your hand.
Sounds like we're like rewriting Shrek is Love, Shrek is Life in the weirdest way.
SpongeBob is teacher.
SpongeBob is senpai.
SpongeBob is senpai. What the fuck?
I don't know.
Okay. So anyway, back to my microwave, because I was gonna ask you about the microwave. What do you think? Because I would guess it wouldn't matter about being more or less healthy, like pizza bites.
Yeah.
Right. Inherently feel that they're less healthy for you if you microwave them as opposed to if you like throw them in the oven.
No, they're equally, like every one I eat, I'm like, okay, that's a new zit, that's a new zit, that's a new zit. Like, it's not as much about health, it's just that pimples. I don't know about you, but when I get pimples, they hurt.
Yeah.
Like, they hurt. They feel like I've got a bee sting on my face. But then I'm like, okay, if I pop this thing, the pain goes away. But it's so deep in my skin. This is probably really gross. But when it's so deep in my skin, when I push on my skin like that, instead of it removing the pimple, it just tears up my skin and makes it look worse. And I was talking to a very dear friend today about it. And she was like, well, what do you wash your face with? And I'm like, Old Spice. And she was like, what is that? And I'm like, $2 bottle. It's basically just dish soap.
Just dish soap. I wash my face with fucking deodorant.
For real?
Old Spice deodorant. Just rub it right on my
the body wash. But I mean, I need to invest in better skincare apparently, because I don't want to look like a Reddit moderator.
Fair. I'm there too. I get acne, especially having to wear these masks.
Oh, dude, maskne is no joke.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it really isn't. It just puts bumps all over my face. I'm obviously not opposed to wearing the mask. It does tear up my face quite a bit. I was using this product called Bulldog, and that worked really well. And I ran out, and now I can't find it anymore. I'm sure I could look on the internet for it, because the pandemic has made me so fucking lazy that I won't even do that.
Oh, dude, the pandemic has turned me into a couch potato. Like, when I get home, I just go directly into my little office and I sit in front of my desktop and I don't leave until I have to either A, go to bed, or 2, go back to work.
It's so easy to do.
Oh yeah. It's like everything I need is at my fingertips. I don't want to go out to a bar because I can just, chill on Discord with the homies.
Yeah, like I don't need to leave. Why would I leave my house? Like all my stuff is here.
Yeah. It's a very Hobbit mentality, and it's why I always will love Hobbits. Is because it's like, well, why? Everything I need is in this little green utopia, which is not green. It's covered in drawings of space marines.
Space Marines now. You have been doing a lot of Space Marine stuff.
Yeah.
I do miss going out in public and doing like performing magic and stuff for strangers. That is one thing I miss.
See, I've never been one to go out in public. Ever. I've always hated going out in big groups of people. Like, going to a bar and doing karaoke, that's fun. But, like, going to clubs? Nah. Nah. I'm not about clubs. I'm not about going clubbing or bar hopping. I just want to stay home, eat my cookies or microwaved lean cuisine, and then just be like, screw it.
Yes. My microwaved sweet potato.
My microwave sweet potato. Band name.
Microwave sweet potato. Yeah, I just want to sit on my couch with my potato, with my hand halfway down my pants, watching
Sweet Potato Smash?
Breaking Bad with SpongeBob.
I haven't seen Breaking Bad in like six years or so. No, about 5 years. Yeah, and then I started watching Better Call Saul. But speaking of Breaking Bad, we have some stories to tell.
You've got a Breaking Bad story, which is, I'm hoping I don't get lost, because I know, shame on me, I've only seen up to like season 2 of Breaking Bad.
Okay,
I just never finished it, but
you know the gist though. Like,
I do know the gist.
Meth empire, kill everyone who you basically, like, I don't know, underground
basically
murder people.
Yeah, America's health system is so piss poor that a guy has to go sell meth to pay his medical bills.
I mean, it's not wrong though, but
I'm with it. I get the gist of it.
Yeah, but I want you to tell me your serial killer story first, because I
want to hear this.
Want to hear this? You told me that earlier today when we were hanging out, and I'm like, okay, I need to hear this.
Okay, so this might have a relatively anticlimactic ending, simply because I'm still alive. I'm still here. Spoiler alert, he didn't get me. But I used to work night shift. I used to work nights at an assisted living facility with elderly dementia patients and things like that. Off topic, but basically, when on my days off, I would still sleep during the day and stay up all night to just kind of keep my schedule the same.
Yeah.
So I was staying up one night. It's late. It's like 2:00 in the morning, and I realize I need to take the trash out. And at the time where I was living, the dump to take my trash was literally 2 minutes down the road, if that. I could hit it with a rock. So I threw the trash in the back of the car. I drove down to the dump, 2 o'clock in the morning, right? It's dark as hell. And I get out of my car, and I start, unloading my trash into the dumpster when a pair of headlights is passing by me on the road, and this, big truck pulls up behind me. And I think nothing of it. I'm just like, maybe the guy works night shift. It is 2 o'clock in the morning, but whatever. I continue throwing my trash, and this dude gets out who I can't see his face because the headlights are facing me. All I can see is the lights. It's too bright. I can't see what kind of truck. I can only tell that this dude's like a foot taller than me. He's much bigger than I am. And he's got a little bag of trash. And he hawks it over into the dumpster, and then he looks at me and he's like, "How you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, good. For being at the dump at 2 o'clock in the fucking morning."
Yeah.
And he's like, "All right. So you live around here?" What the fuck? It's 2 o'clock in the...
Yeah. That's mind your own business.
2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, that's fucking get back in your car and leave me the fuck alone kind of hours.
Now,
and
here's a question. Does
go
this
ahead.
car resemble the one from the story you told last week? This guy could be stalking you. He could have found he could be stalking you your whole life.
He could be, but no, this was definitely a
bushes.
truck. He might be watching me right now. Just fucking lock the door right there. But yeah, no, so not the same. The one that stopped in the last story, that was a car. This one was definitely a truck, but I couldn't make it out because his high beams were on while he was out of the truck. But he asked me if I lived around there. And I was just kind of like, yeah, I'm, not too far from here. I didn't get specific, but then he said, "Oh, okay. Are you new in town?" What the fuck are you like? I'm like, "No, I've been here a good while." I didn't want to get into specifics of me. I used to live in New York, and now I'm here, and and then the part that freaked me the fuck out was "Do you live around here? And are you new in town?" Would be kind of normal questions if it wasn't 2 o'clock in the fucking morning.
Yeah.
But it is 2 o'clock in the fucking morning, and maybe you're on some sort of spectrum, right? Maybe you don't understand social interaction, and that's fine. But the question that fucked me up the most was he kind of looks at the back of my car while I'm throwing my trash away, and he asks me if I plan on leaving town anytime soon.
What?
Right? Fucking, do I plan on leaving town are you basically do you live near here? Are you from here? Do you plan on leaving anytime soon?
That's fucking weird, dude.
It fucking sketched me out so bad, man. I was just like, no. No, I'm not. And then I just went to the front of my car, in the door, and then I pretended to be just shuffling stuff around, I was collecting more trash. But I had a little I guess you could call it a bat. It was a little mini bat thing in my car, and I had that in my hand, and I was making it look like I was shuffling, but I was watching his ass through the fucking mirror, and he just stood there for 20 seconds, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a fucking eternity after a question like that. At 2 o'clock in the morning, 20 seconds is a long fucking time. And then he got in his truck and drove off.
So all I'm imagining is it's 2 in the morning, and it's just this redneck dude, and he's trying to be friendly, and you're like, "I'm gonna bash his brains out. He's asking me questions."
I'm just so fucking antisocial.
I would be that way.
Ready to snap and hit this dude. No, fuck those questions.
Yeah,
that guy
don't ask questions like that at 2 in the fucking morning.
No, that was gonna end up.
Yeah, that's gonna end up you're just gonna get yourself in trouble, or you're looking for trouble asking those kind of questions.
I was gonna end up in that dude's basement, fucking handcuffed to a fucking furnace, wearing a skirt, and it was not going to end well for me, man.
Venus, you're my wife now. You must perform womanly duty. Okay, that's... Okay.
Fucking have to do dishes for the guy and
God forbid.
other unmentionables.
Yeah, you'd have to do his laundry. So I guess is it so? I'm guessing it's not like you weren't in like a really populated area though. You were like, I'm just imagining like some back alley dumpster.
So I lived at the time in a very rural area. It was basically like,
if it's the area
it was paved.
Is it like in that general vicinity of certain county that starts with an F?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, there's nothing out there. There's nothing out there but
no,
like
no one would have heard me scream.
People.
Yes, no one would have heard me scream. The road was paved, but it might as well have been a fucking dirt road.
Yeah. That's spooky.
There was a fucking right behind the dumpster that I was at was a field of corn.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. He would have. He probably would have. He would have fucked me. He would have fucked me. He would have fucked my mouth. He would have fucked my butt, and he would have made a new hole and fucked me there. Like, it would have been really bad.
I don't know. You're a big dude. I think you could take him.
I think I could have, but like, only because he was like, had he not been that fucking creepy, I probably would have paid him no mind.
But the fact that he's just like, hi. Yeah.
Did you happen to be like,
are you from around these parts, boy? I'll make you squeal.
For any reason, would anybody not be suspicious if you just weren't around tomorrow?
Yeah, as the Zoomers say, that's mad sus.
Mad sus.
Mad sus.
Mad sus. I would have ejected his ass with that fucking baseball bat.
Yeah, probably.
So that shit happened to me.
Yeah, I don't know, stuff like that. Just when people talk to me that I don't know in a place where it's like I'm at a dumpster, don't talk to me. I'm not friendly. And I mean,
no,
it may just be me, but I'm like, if you're talking to me, I don't know you. I'm not going to become friends with you at 2 a.m. and in front of a dumpster. It's just not going to happen, buddy.
Nope. No.
Especially if you ask questions like that. Like if it's like, whoa, dog, it's kind of late out. What you up to? Like that's,
right?
That's a bit more acceptable. But like asking like where you live and I don't know.
Yeah, not unacceptable.
Unacceptable.
No, that's the story of how I almost became someone's fiddlestick. But so now I'm so what is your Breaking Bad story?
God. So your story is oh god. So I feel I don't want to. Okay. So I have a past with a very rough crowd. I don't talk to any of these people anymore, those who are still alive, and most of them who are still alive are either in jail or making their way into jail. I don't talk to them anymore. So
you knew Bryan Cranston?
I did not know Bryan Cranston, and I'm glad I never did. But no. This would have been about 4 years ago. I had just gotten home from work, poured myself a glass of scotch, and was playing Castle Crashers with one of my best friends. One of my best friends, he was like my main man. Uh-huh. And what we do is every Thursday night we'd go out and do karaoke, and there's a whole squad. Well, and that squad was my best friend's roommate. I'm going to call him by his name because he's a piece of shit human being anyways. It was Andrew. Andrew was
Fuck you, Andrew.
Fuck you, Andrew. Andrew was a 40-year-old dude who was missing a tooth, short, really short, and would hit on every girl over the age of 18.
Okay.
Every girl.
Okay.
Every girl. Like, didn't matter if you were dating her. He was trying to get in her pants. He was that kind of guy. Just kind of douchebag. But Andrew had an ex-wife and 2 kids. Now, I knew Andrew's ex-wife was in with a bad crowd, but I didn't know how bad it was. I'm playing Castle Crashers with my best friend at the time, and I hear some talking in the background, and he's like, my best friend's like, yo, dude, we may need your help, because I'm a big guy. And they're like, we may need your help as like protection. And I'm like, okay, but I'm a pacifist, so. And he's like, it doesn't matter. You know,
your presence alone kind of deal.
And he's like, do you have a gun? And I lied and said yes. And he's like, come over. Well, I had a BB gun that looked like an actual pistol. So I whip it in my pants and I'm like, okay, let's go.
No.
And so I'm a little drunk at the time as well. Well, we drive over to these really ghetto apartments, and I know they're really ghetto because I lived in a closet in one of them. Story for another day. For about 6 months. But we walk up to Andrew's wife, and Andrew's wife opens the door. Now, granted, I've never seen this bitch. This woman, you could tell just by looking at her, tweaked out on meth. Tweaked the fuck out on meth. And I'm like, okay, tonight got a lot more interesting. She's freaking out, saying she was seeing people around the apartment. And Andrew's like, well, what's wrong with that? And she's like, no, you don't understand. My house has been a dispensary. I had like 27 grand worth of meth that I just flushed. And Andrew's like, what? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, and they're coming for me. They're going to kill me. They're going to kill the kids. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to go home. I got to get out of this shit. So,
you've got a fucking...
I have a BB gun, dude.
BB gun?
I have a BB gun. And like when my best friend was like, dude, you packing? He showed his gun. I'm like, yeah, it's a BB gun. I'm just like, I want to go home. I want to go home. I should not be here. I don't owe this dude anything.
Oh my God.
Well, it continues, and about 2 hours pass, nothing happens. Andrew and his wife go in a room and fight. And I look at my best friend. I'm like, dog, we got to get out of here. And he's like, no, I got to be there for Andrew. I'm like, no, we don't. He's 2 months behind on rent, dude.
Fuck Andrew.
Well, we look outside, and a car parks. And it's this ghetto-ass looking pickup truck. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. Knock on the door. Knock on the door. Andrew opens it. They kick open the door. It's these 3 big redneck dudes. And one of them's packing like a semi-automatic. And I'm like, I have a BB gun.
Oh my God, I hope you can enjoy the victory with one goddamn eye! Jesus.
Shoot him in the dick. And I'm sitting there, I'm just like pouring sweat. And they're freaking out because they see us. Andrew is holding a gun in his hand. They point the gun. I dive into the kitchen like, And like, they're screaming at each other. And like, the guy gets Andrew on his knees. They grab us. They put us on our knees. They're pointing the gun at us. And I'm just sitting there sweating bullets. And they're like, where's the meth? And like, who are the fuck are these guys? And I just like, I'm like, sir, no disrespect. I was just playing video games. This guy is my best friend's roommate. I have no idea why I'm here. And they look at me and they kind of talk to each other. And they're like, so let me get this straight. You two have no affiliation with anything. I'm like, nope, I don't even know why I'm here. I was just asked to be here to be support for a friend. That's all I know. And they're like, get the fuck out of here. We see you again. You're going to end up in a barrel. And they open the balcony. We're 2 stories up, and they make us jump off the balcony and hobble back to our cars. I was so fucking terrified.
Oh my God. How do you not, in that moment, just poop yourself?
I don't know, man. I was just like, adrenaline kicked in, and I'm like, I have a BB gun, dude. I'm like, they did search me, and they found the BB gun, and they were just like, really? And they kept it.
They kept your BB gun?
Yeah. And I'm like, I never will see that little BB gun again. I found it out by a dumpster. It was a really cool BB gun. I just, it was my little bit of security I had. And after that, I bought an actual firearm, which I never used and I never want to use. But yeah, that was about 4 years ago this time, so I don't think they're following me anymore. But I'm pretty sure one of those dudes was like one of the meth kingpins, because like apparently Andrew came into work a couple days later and we're like, did you not die? And it's funny because a couple days after this, Andrew gets arrested for public intoxication. But he was like, no, I didn't die. And I was like, what happened? They're like, they just screamed at her and they just, and I was like, what? And he's like, yeah. And then they all went in the room with her, and I'm like, oh my God. And he's like, yep. And I'm like, why the fuck do you talk to me? But he told me this, and I didn't know this. His kids were in the room next door while all this was happening. And I'm just thinking about, like, what horrible parents to let that kind of shit happen when their kids are there. Like, there could have been a full-on shootout. Like, they were pointing guns at each other, and, like, 2 of them, it was 2-on-2. I had a BB gun. I wasn't pulling that shit out either. I was going to just hide in the fridge until they forgot. That was my survival plan. I was like, okay, just don't jump in the fridge and just stay there.
Oh my god. How in the fuck?
Yeah.
I can't imagine, like, staring down the barrel of these fucking meth dealers.
Yeah.
And you have a BB gun.
I wasn't, like, brave or anything. I just, like, it didn't feel real. Because I was a little drunk. But it just was like, this isn't happening. This isn't happening. How's my mom? How am I going to explain this to my mom? I'm about to get shot in the middle of a meth house. I've never even touched meth. I don't even know what it looks like, apart from what I've seen on Breaking Bad.
Fucking... it's so good that you didn't die.
Yeah,
because, we were talking about the internet being the fucking Thunderdome. Like, it's just no holds bar. If your body was found in the middle of a meth shootout with a fucking BB gun on it, you'd be immortal. You'd be immortal. Like the endless amount of jokes.
Loser brings BB guns. Oh god, that would not.
The internet would rip you apart.
They've already torn me a new one. I did get doxxed and DDoSed once, and I had people tell me they were going to kill me, but I lived out in the middle of nowhere, so they were like, I'm like, well, do it. I mean, I could use some company.
Jesus, that's so intense.
Yeah, it was not fun.
It's funny that, like, you just find yourself in these situations.
Yeah, it's so weird because I feel like we're very similar. We don't go out looking for trouble. We don't really do stuff, and we still get involved in really crazy situations.
Yeah.
Should this be a good segue into the housing situation?
Yes, because we're already talking about Andy, fuck him, horrible roommate. You recently had to deal with a roommate situation.
I did.
And I think the funniest part to me, because I don't know the whole story, so this will be my first time hearing it, but what I do know is that you were not romantically involved with this roommate.
No. As far as I knew, she was gay. And like,
but you did meet on Tinder.
Yeah, but like after we met, we just became friends because she was like, she was very clear that she wasn't into dudes or anything, and like I'm okay with having friends, but like if someone's gay, it's like there's like a thing in my head that's like, okay, this is like, this person has no attraction to me. I can just, I don't have to worry about this kind of stress.
Yeah, it just kind of lets you chill.
Yeah, it's kind of lets you chill. It's like, okay, yeah, we playing on the same team sort of thing. I don't know. That sounds super insensitive. It sounds super insensitive, but my best friend in the world, he's gay, so eat my ass. So I start talking to this girl around December, and we're just kind of on and off,
Uh-huh.
We like hippie stuff and stuff like that. And we don't really talk that much, but she was very into podcasts, and I was like, I want to start a podcast one day, and I would still like to start a podcast one day if we ever get around to
I mean, that would be nice.
That would be nice, right?
The idea would be good.
Yeah,
you'd have to find someone to do it with you.
I know, yeah. It's got to be hard to find someone who can put up with my ramblings. But anyhow, so we stay friends. We only talk like maybe once a week, if that.
Mm-hmm.
And like it was a very like fair weather friend. Well, February, she hits me up and she's like, "Yo, I know you were telling me that you got a decent sized apartment. I'm finding myself on some pretty rough areas because 2 of my roommates had a domestic abuse. Their names were on the lease, and now I need a new place to live." And I'm like, oh, I understand. And she was like, she was even going to court to testify on the domestic abuse. So I knew it was legit.
All right, so that makes a little more sense too.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, yeah, I wasn't like simping or anything like that. It was legitimately just like, okay, well, I've got 2 roommates already, and then I have my office, which I'm back in now. Praise the gods. And I'm like, okay, so what I'll do is I'll clean out my office, put it all in my room, and you can crib there for a couple months. And she's like, cool. So she moves in like that night, and my roommates are cool with it because they're like, hell yeah, cheaper rent.
Yeah.
She started moving in the apartment, and she was very cluttered when she was moving in, and we're very clean people. We're very like, keep it organized. You can have stuff around, just wash your dishes. Don't let stuff like prevent filth. And
yes.
So what happened was, when she moved in, the first week the apartment was a mess, but we all gave her the benefit of the doubt. We would go out to eat as like roommates and stuff like that, and we had like a little party where like we all did shots, and we listened to music, and just had a very good time. And she and I had some pretty deep conversations, and I felt like she was very large on anything that like mainstream ideologies was. She believed. I believe she had a very hard time thinking for herself.
Okay.
Like, it was just sort of thing where, when I was telling her like, yeah, I've been where you're in before. I've been homeless twice in my life, and she's like, no, you can't be homeless. I was like, why? It's like, you're a white guy, and I'm like, first off, I'm Jewish.
Whoa.
So yeah, it was just kind of like that, and like. I remember once she told me that cowboys were white supremacists, and I'm like, most cowboys were Latinos. Like, where are you getting your information? Like,
yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, so it was kind of weird. So she and I didn't really talk that much when she moved in.
Okay.
But when she moved in, there were a couple things I started noticing about 2 weeks in. A smell was emanating from her room. Like,
ooh.
BO, straight armpit body odor. And we're like, okay, this is kind of weird. So we start burning candles in the apartment. And then she never washes her dishes. She would just put them in the sink and leave them there. And not her dishes, my dishes. And I didn't get very upset about it, but my roommates did. Because I owned almost all the silverware and dishes and everything like that. And so she wouldn't wash them, so no one had clean dishes. And then food started disappearing. And when food starts, we're like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to build a community shelf. If there's extra food, you can do it there. And then the weed smells started hitting the apartment. Like, look, if you're going to smoke, it's going to be legal in a couple months. Just wait it out or do it outside. Don't do it in the apartment because we're professionals. We don't like smelling like illicit substances. No hatred on it. No hate on, like, your lifestyle, because I know it's just a plant. I have no beef with cannabis.
Yeah, but that shit is strong.
It makes a very large smell. And if I'm a professional and I'm smelling like weed, I'm going to lose that status of professional very quickly. And so we had a roommate meeting about it, and she seemed on board. And we're like, cool. And we're like, just so you know, you're not signed on the lease. So, you're just subleasing. And like, the first month goes by and she doesn't pay rent. She doesn't pay power. And we're like, okay. And she's like, yeah, I'm kind of tight on money. But she just bought a new PC, a new sewing machine, and a bunch of like stuff.
Well, yeah.
And we're like, okay. And she would use like a roll of my toilet paper in a week and not change it. Maybe like 3 days. It was ridiculous how quickly she would run through it, and she wouldn't replace it. So I had to buy new toilet paper and all that rubbish. And it was like I had a child almost that didn't take care of himself.
That's what it sounds like.
The sad thing is this sounds so disturbing, but she was a very attractive person. But, it's just no concept of like hygiene or like decency. And it just got to a point where it was getting painful to live together.
Was she like a gamer?
No, she
chick or anything like that, or just
no. She always said she wanted to be, because she wanted to become like a Twitch streamer, but she never did really anything. She said she was in school, but like she would just stand her like in this room, the room I'm in now, and watch H3H3 all the time, his podcast.
Okay.
It would all night, all day. And the straw that broke the camel's back was one day we got a note on the door, and it was saying, hey, my Ring doorbell picked up someone taking my Grubhub and bringing it across to your apartment. She was a younger skinny woman. Don't do that again or I'm calling law enforcement. And
rightly so.
Yeah, and we're just like, we have a roommate meeting, and we're like, look, we've gone over this. It's been 2 months now. You haven't paid rent. The apartment smells like swamp ass. You're stealing our food. You're stealing our neighbor's food. You're playing music loud all night. You're out. You've got 30 days to vacate the premise. And we don't legally. I even got legal consultation about this. Like, my lawyer even told me, like, she's trespassing. Day one, she's trespassing. She has not signed a lease, and if you don't want her there, she is trespassing. And so I was like, okay. So I, we gave her 30 days to move out.
Yeah.
Well, 20 days go by, and she hasn't packed or anything, and we're getting really nervous. And
right.
And this dude comes over, and like we kind of told her like, hey, like we all would talk and be like in the group text messages, like, if we were bringing someone over, we let everyone else know. It's just common decency when you live with roommates, you know, especially with food stealing and stuff like that. And she did steal a couple of my hard ciders as well, which kind of made me salty. And I'm pretty sure she used my towels too, which makes me feel really weird.
Salty is the last thing you want to be when you have nothing to drink.
Yeah. Oh, and I didn't even mention she got bong water in my toothpaste. I don't even know how that happened. Terrible experience. Bong water in my toothpaste. Don't even know how she did it.
How the fuck?
I'm pretty sure she was dumping her bong out in the sink and then dropped my toothpaste in there and just put it back up. It was bad. It was bad. There was just no respect. So this dude starts coming over, and I message her on Snap like, hey, just a reminder, you've got 10 days to vacate, and we really need to know if you're bringing someone in the apartment, because we don't trust you, and we're not going to trust anyone you bring in the apartment. It's nothing personal, but trust, once it's broken. Once trust is broken, it's almost impossible to get back.
Yes.
And she just kind of was like, yeah, no, whatever. And this dude kept on coming over, and we were all just like, why is he spending the night? We thought she was gay. And so we couldn't figure it out. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they were having sex because the walls here are really thin. I didn't hear a thing. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. Well,
yeah.
We find out like a couple days before she moves out. She's moving in with him, and they're like dating. And like, I was on Tinder at the time. I've since deleted for personal reasons, but
okay.
I saw her on Tinder. Like, and this was like before he started coming over, but it was like roommates kicking me out, need a place to live. Or something like bigoted roommates are kicking me out, need a place to live. Oh. And then the pieces clicked. She got this dude to simp for her to get a free bed and board. And it fucking made sense. And when we found that out, my roommate Adam ran down the stairs, grabbed the guy by the shoulder, and Adam's jacked as fuck. So he was terrifying this hippie kid, and Adam just looks at him and is like, "You can do better, King." And like in front of her, and the guy's just, "No, she's pretty cool." And Adam's like, "No, I lived with this bitch for 2 months. You can do better." And
he can do better.
So she moved in with him last week, and she was supposed to be out by Saturday. And I went to church on Sunday to make my parents happy, and you know that's not something I want to go into, at least not right now.
Fair enough.
But you know, I picked up a bunch of cleaning supplies. I was gonna clean the room, and I'm walking in. I'm listening to power metal, and I kick open the door to the office, and she's still in there. The room's empty, but she's just sitting in there. And I just look at her and smile. I'm like, "Oh, you're still here?" And she's like, she looks at me like I'm in her room, which it's not. It's my room. I paid rent for the past 2 months.
Yeah, like get the fuck out.
Yeah, and she's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna start cleaning." And this room was vile. I still have burning candles constantly because I bleached the floor. There were boogers on the wall. Like, it was disgusting. Like, I don't know how she lived in it. Like, there was like just dirty food everywhere, and it was a mess. But it's clean now. It's really clean. Got those candles burning, so I don't smell anything. I have a very sensitive nose. But yeah.
Are you in that room right now?
I'm in that room right now, and it's very nice, and it's very clean, and it will stay that way.
Oh my god. See, I never had that situation. I've never had
this is the second time this happened to me. Yeah, I had this one roommate I had to kick out because of hygiene issues, and he wouldn't pay rent. This was like 5 years ago, and now he's in jail.
Oh, now it's making the jail smelly.
Yeah, but yeah, that was a bad summer. It's bad because we had a bunk bed, and let's just say one night, I am on the top bunk, and the bed just starts rocking, and I hear him breathing really heavily. I'm like, and I punch the top of it, and he just keeps going, and I go, and he stops. And I wait 30 minutes, and it starts up again. And I punch the top. I'm like, "Dude, go in the bathroom." He's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." I'm like, you freak. You freak.
Jeez, go polish the pole somewhere else.
Yeah.
Not in a bunk bed.
Yeah, go do wee time in the bathroom.
Go, like, does he not know how gravity works and the disasters that could befall you
Literally.
from being on the top bunk?
Literally. Yeah, I think that was one of the weirdest sexual experiences I've had in my life. It was so uncomfortable. I'm just sitting on the top bunk and the bed's just rocking. Oh, not a good summer.
Not a good summer. Nope. No. Oh. So that roommate is, but she's gone now.
Mm-hmm. She left some of her pots and pans, and she's asking me to bring them to her. And I just sent her a legal copy of a cease and desist that my lawyer had emailed me, plus a legal document about abandoned property. So.
Okay, that's good that you have like legal
Yeah.
standings on that too.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Because if she hadn't vacated, I was actually talking to my lawyer and the owners of the property, and they were going to have her escorted off.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I didn't want to bring it there, but it was just a point where it was just so bad. And like the way she would act towards everyone, like we were in her home. It was very toxic.
I've dealt with that shit. I can't get into it now. Maybe after this month for personal legal reasons, but we will definitely talk about it.
Yeah.
For sure.
We'll have to interview some of the parties involved.
If we can. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Just have your landlord on for a podcast. Tell your landlord, yeah, this is how I pay my rent.
This is how I pay my rent. Yeah, you're welcome. You're fucking welcome. Speaking of, okay, you had mentioned that the rocking on the top bunk was one of the weirdest sexual experiences. Do you have a weirdest?
Oh God. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Are you willing to share it with the world?
Okay. Oh God. I've got so many weird sexual experiences. Probably I call this Anon and the farting yandere. That's the name of the story.
The farting yandere.
The farting yandere. It was one of the most disgusting moments of my life, and I didn't know how to. I don't think I handled it well. I'll be honest.
Is yandere is that a thing?
Yeah, a yandere apparently, according to weeb culture, is a crazy a girl who's like obsessed with a dude. Okay.
I figured it had something to do with that.
So this would have been last summer. Around this time, actually, is when I had the little red Pontiac that lasted me a month. Yeah, it was about this time.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was about this time of year. So I was on, what was I on? I was on OkCupid, which is like the meth head dating app.
Oh, yeah.
All my bad stories start with a dating app. It's not a good way to start a story, but it did. I met this girl, and she liked nerd stuff, and I'm like, okay, let's test the waters. So go on a date, and it was pretty nice. You know, I brought her some flowers because, you know, le romance.
Motherfucking gentleman over here.
And we talk, we go on a walk. It was really nice. And then I went home and listened to a couple audiobooks on the drive back because it was about a 2-hour drive. And she was trying to convince me to go back to her place during the date and have the sex. And I was like, nah, I gotta work tomorrow. I'm not doing stuff like that. Well, yeah. She really liked PC gaming. And I'm like, cool. And she played, what was it? Killing Floor. And so I know that game and download it. It's fun. I love it. It's just Wave of Zombies.
Good game.
And you know, it was a fun game. And so it was the second day. I'd gotten home from work and we're playing it together. And she starts making weird noises. You know the kind of noises I'm talking about. The sex noise.
Not the sex noises.
And I'm like, okay, this is uncomfortable. Do I say anything? And I just sit there, keep on playing, feeling really awkward. And then loud as day, after about 5 minutes, I just hear this retch of a gastral sound, fart. And she just goes on the mic and is like, sorry, I fart every time I come. And I just hang up on the call. I block her on everything. And I'm like, no, that is disgusting. Nope. Like, I feel like you violated my ears. Like, she didn't even ask or anything. I'm like,
yeah, that's really fucked up.
That's really weird. And then the story continues, though. Last Christmas, she hits me up randomly, telling me that I'm a pig, I'm a misogynist, I'm a horrible person. And I'm just like, yeah, I am. And your point? And I'm not. I try to be moral, but I'm just like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
And that's why I told her, I'm like, you're crazy. I'm like, I don't know you anything.
That's super fucked up to do that shit like without your consent, and then to say, sorry, I fart every time I come.
Yeah, it's like, who the fuck does that? Who the fuck like thinks, oh, he'll really get off to this? Start like doing like feeling yourself up while you're playing a game, and then just right in the mic. Like, it's fucking weird.
I don't know. Maybe she was into that stuff.
I don't know. I didn't want to find out.
No, don't find out. You run away from red flags like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then we
Or
learn.
Brown flags.
Yep.
Yeah, now, what is your weirdest sexual experience, if you so do feel introducing the internet?
Yeah, I think it's enough time has passed. But I was seeing this girl. I won't say her name, obviously, but things started getting hot and heavy,
Mm-hmm.
and we start doing, the big sex, and right, we're doing the. Okay, I'll say.
No, I love the big sex.
Yeah, the big sex. I'm giving it to her because I'm a gentleman, and that's what I do. But okay, we're doing the big sex, right? And everything was great, fine and dandy. And the reason things got weird is because her grandmother walked into the room.
Oh.
Yeah. And then proceeded to yell at us. She yelled at us to get out of her bed. Which we did. So.
Oh my God! You had sex in granny bed.
Oh my God! I'm a terrible person. We had sex in granny bed.
No, that's amazing. That's like the there's no more way that you can just step to the tier and be like, I am going to dominate this family. I am going to fuck you in your ancestors' place of rest.
Yeah. Yeah, you looked me right in the eye at dinner time, Grandma.
So I last bed I found, because let's just say it was a point of time where I was seeing someone, found out that she was sleeping with her boss in my bed. I burnt that mattress. I fucking burnt that shit, dude. And the cops even came, and they're like, "You okay, man? Like, it's not normal to burn a mattress and cry." And I'm just like, and they're like, "Go home, go to bed, put this out first. If we hear anything again, we're locking you up in a loony bin."
That's understandable, and I wouldn't blame Grandma for burning the bed if she had to replace it. Kind of awful of us.
I've only broken one bed, and it was because I was jumping on it. Like, I never understood why I was, as a kid, like, don't jump on the bed. So I started jumping on my bed and just breaks apart. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense now.
That'll be why. Well, I think that's the better way to raise children, is to have natural consequences.
Oh, I was
like,
my parents had
know.
to do restitution. I was such a terrible child. I was Bart Simpson, and I didn't even know what The Simpsons was. Like, okay, example. When I was a little tyke, I was about 4, I would jump on the bed, grab the ceiling fan, and spin around.
Right.
Yeah. And then once I did that, and I yanked a ceiling fan right out of the roof. And my parents made me buy another one. They made me do chores and work to make money to buy another one. My dad was like, this is restitution. You have to pay your, what is it? It's like you have to contribute back to society.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. That makes sense.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, it made me fear the law, because I learned that, okay, I mess something up, there's a consequence.
Yeah, and I feel that's natural.
Yeah.
For sure. I think I'm more speaking of, like, had you been jumping on your bed and the bed broke and then it needed to be replaced, and then, like, someone beat your ass for it.
Oh, no, I got my ass beat too, but I deserved it. I was a ratchet child.
Oh. It's you're such an upstanding citizen now.
Not really.
It's so hard to believe.
I just go under the radar. You know, you don't do anything bad, you don't get in trouble. It's that secret. It's just like,
I guess so, but I've seen you do some really nice
I'm not. No.
stuff.
No.
I've seen you go out of your way.
No, I'm not.
I've been behind you in the car, and I've seen you throwing like a couple bucks to homeless people and things like that, for sure.
Well, one thing I did when to stop smoking is I would give my cigarettes to them, because,
Okay.
they like that a lot, and like it's like, dude, thanks, and especially because who carries cash these days? It's all digital. But like,
Yeah.
like instead of buying them, like instead of being like, oh, you need to use that money for food or shelter, be like, dog, I know you want some cigarettes. It's cold out. You're out here for hours. Have a couple smokes.
Yeah, that's fair, and it brings it to a more human level as well, too.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, money does help, but I just
Yeah. Well, you see, I never understood, like, because a lot of people do say, like, well, I don't give to the homeless because they'll spend that money on drugs or they'll spend it on alcohol.
Yeah, how do you know?
But like, and even if that's true, even if that's the case,
yeah, are you letting
you can.
Yeah, are you letting your perception of someone else being bad make you bad?
Right? Because it would take. Because here's my idea, right? One thing you could do that isn't giving somebody money is you could, like, just grab a backpack at Goodwill for like $1, $2, right? And then you could just put extra crap that you have in that backpack.
Yeah.
Like a blanket at Goodwill is like, it's insignificant. A jacket, a pair of shoes, stuff it in the backpack, and the next time someone's saying like, hey, I'm homeless, you don't have to give them money and hope that they'll spend it on something good. You've already taken a bit of your time and money to spend it for them, and you just say, here's a backpack. It's got a blanket in there. It's got a jacket in there. It's got like
some books.
I don't know, canned soup, a book,
yeah,
right? Like it's a way to give back, and you don't have to sit there and make the excuse like, well, they'll just spend that shit on something else. It's not a matter of what they'll spend it on. It's just a matter of just being human, coming down to their level for a second, because not all of them are there because of some sort of addiction or
in
terrible decisions.
In my late teens, I was homeless, and I never begged. I was always too proud. I lived in my car, but I never begged. And then when I was 21, I was homeless and lived in a closet. But still, it was the sort of thing where it's like I always tried my way, but like it's scary. Like it is really scary. And it's so weird to think, but like not having a home, having a place where you can take a shower, you can sleep, it is the most lonely feeling. And I'm not gonna sit here and say I didn't have people who loved me. I was just proud. Like I was too proud to, say sorry or do anything. And I had to make my own way. So I will blame a lot of it on me. Because I still have a lot of people who love me, and I love very dearly. But I'm still a proud person. I do not like accepting help.
Yeah, that's completely like hell. There are times where like even just today, you got me breakfast, and I'm just like,
well, you got me lunch.
Fuck, I did get you lunch, so it pays back. But I do understand that moment of like, shit, not like shit as in like, well, piss. Now I owe Anon something, but like, just like, yeah, I don't know. I like to be like, hey man, I'll get it.
Yeah,
you got it last time. I'll get it. I'll do everything to try and get it this time. And
would you say gift giving is one of your languages? Because I know it's one of mine.
Oh, like a love language? I would say sure. Definitely. I would say that's definitely one of my default, like, how do I say it? Because it's not a romantic love language. I mean, it is. It's just I don't always treat it in that sense.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'll get you a gift, but I don't want to fuck you.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's platonic love, like brotherly love. Like, likewise, I wish not to have the big sex with my homie.
The big sex,
sex. But it's like there's a brotherly love or a companion love. It's like, the way that Frodo and Sam may have been fucking not confirmed. Tolkien's probably rolling in his grave after I said that. But like, I said, is that It's that homie
Yeah.
love, that homosexuality, if you will.
That homosexuality. That, hey man, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, hey man, taking a piece of jewelry and throwing it in a volcano. I was doing anything else with my year.
Yeah, I'll walk to that mountain and throw that. I'll do that with you. That's fine.
I still don't understand why they didn't use the Eagles.
I will say, I'm a nerd out for just a second.
All right.
That the Eagles are an extremely proud race in the Lord of the Rings. So when the Eagles took Gandalf, it was
special.
It was special.
Yeah,
it was a moment that's like, hey
Eagles,
man, we love you, but just this fucking one time.
The Eagles really didn't care for the things of humans, elves, or the small folk. They were just kind of like, yo, we birds, dog.
Right. And then, of course, when they get them at the end, it wasn't as much a favor as to Gandalf as much as it was a thank you for what they did.
Yeah.
So...
Okay, do you know something sad? I never noticed this in the movies till recently. One of the when Gandalf takes Frodo and Sam, they're 3 eagles because he was hoping that Smeagol survived, and that is so heart-wrenching.
I never noticed that.
Yeah. But the sad thing, according to the book, is because when Frodo's about to throw the ring in, when Smeagol yanks it, he says, "No, don't throw it in. We will turn into dust." Because he was so old. You know how Bilbo aged so quickly after the ring was destroyed? Same would have happened to Gollum. Like, he would have been evaporated.
Yeah.
But he was a very filthy cretin.
Huh?
He was a very filthy cretin.
He was. He was very much so. I love that they don't do a good portrayal in the movie, but in the books, when Frodo gets taken by, what's the spider's name?
Shelob. Yeah,
Shelob. When Frodo gets taken by Shelob, if I'm not mistaken, in the book, because in the movie it looks like Shelob takes Frodo for like a handful of hours.
Yeah.
And Sam has the ring, and then Sam gives the ring back to Frodo, and in the movie, Frodo offers Sam to hold the ring.
Yeah.
And then Sam looks at it, gets that little bit of temptation, and he told Frodo, you got this. You and I will got this. Mm-hmm. You keep the ring. In the book, Shelob had Frodo for how long? A long fucking time.
Like a day or two.
It was. I even thought it was longer than that, a week or something like that.
Sam was lost as fuck.
Sam held that ring in the book, and he held it.
Yeah, and he used it. He used it.
If I'm not
when he saved Frodo, he used the ring, and
it never once tempted him in the book.
Yeah.
And I love that the real actual hero, the one who should have been the ring bearer,
was Sam
the whole time, but he just lacked the courage to do so that Frodo had.
I completely forgot when Sam's like, I can carry it for a while, share the load. So, interesting thing, when I was a kid,
okay.
I don't know why some words are hard for me to perceive. I blame it on massive amounts of dyslexia. But I heard him say share the loan, and I'm just sitting there I remember my I was 13 when Return of the King came out. Yeah, I was about 13, 14. Okay. And I remember I was sitting there, I'm like, why is he sharing a loan?
That's too funny.
Yeah, but
share the loan.
Yeah,
share the
honestly,
loan, Frodo.
We could do we could do multiple podcasts. We could do a Star Wars podcast, we could do a Lord of the Rings podcast, and a Dungeons and Dragons podcast, and still have so much to talk about.
Yeah, I might as well just do it here, and sparingly.
This week was May the 4th.
It was May the 4th. What is it? I forget the others. They have all of them, Revenge of the 5th.
Yeah, Revenge of the 5th. I am the 6th or something like that. I am the Sith or 6th.
I am the 7th. I think, 7th. Right?
I don't know. Yeah, something like that. I am the Senate.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a whole pun. I don't know. Google them. Just go Google them. They're funny. You'll have a good time.
Yeah. I follow some Star Wars meme pages. That's the only reason I know.
Gotcha. How are we looking on time?
Well, let's just say this. What are your
Okay.
thoughts on religion?
My thoughts on religion are on next time on the podcast. We're going to talk about a dwarf story because that's all the time we have for tonight.
That's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you for tuning in to Two Goats. My name's Anon. You're joined by the Mighty Venus. Please leave us some comments. This week's comment was what, where, and how did we come up with the Two Goats podcast name? Venus, do you wanna give that before we say goodnight?
Oh yeah. The reason we called it the Two Goats is because, well, as most people know, I'm a magician. And when I was just kind of learning the craft in my teenage years, I met this very, very ugly girl, and her name was Shelob. She was a really bad roommate. What was the question?
I don't remember. Good night.
Me neither. Well, good night.